Welcome, everyone. We want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to be with us. Come on, let's get to the root of it.
In these times that we live, we take strides to move forward. We strive to be more, stay strong and be focused. Start a while, we make choices, live or die. Take over starts at the root, and the truth may be hard to swallow. Step one, self-love above anything else. Unlock peace and happiness.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, and thank you for tuning in to At the Root of It. My name is Shannon, and on tonight's show, y'all, we are talking about a major topic. And today's topic is lust versus love. Sorry, I'm trying to get onto Instagram, but it is lust versus love, fidelity, and trust. And those are some heavy hitters. Those are really some heavy hitters that we really need to discuss. I know that a lot of people have not discussed this topic before. And it is just, I believe it's something that we all need to speak about. So I'm connecting to Instagram right now. So I have a guest on tonight because I believe that this dialogue deserved both a male and a female so that we can really get to the root of this thing and see how a male thinks, what their vantage point is. And it's a really, it's also, he's going to give us a double, like a double-sided coin here, because he was once single and now he's married. So his viewpoint or his vantage point on love and lust changed. So without further ado, I would like to present to some and introduce to others my guest for tonight's show, Mr. Kassim Gibson. Give him a round of applause, y'all. Give him a round of applause. You know, I ordered a clapper thing, and you know what? It never came from Amazon. It told me something from Amazon, but I'm going to clap it up for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sis. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you having me on.
You're so very welcome. And hey, Jen on Instagram. I see you. Hey, Tifa. This is how you'll see comments coming up now.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Yeah, people. Hey, my man Crunch.
My cousin in the house. That's what's happening. That's what's up. I appreciate you coming, V. No doubt.
Right. And of course, my sister. Whoop, whoop.
Indeed. Twin. Much love. Thank you.
Twin. So before we get into the full topic of the show today, I just wanted to give a brief history of how I know Kassim. And I know him through my sister. They call each other twins. But we all became really close friends. Like, we are all friends. Mm-hmm. But and we've known each other since 2008. My sister and I and our mother moved out here in 2007. And Kassim was one of the few people that we met when we first got here, and we're still friends to this day. So that's a blessing. Hey, and Kassim's cousin, don't forget to subscribe. You're on YouTube right now. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Anybody that's tuning in to At the Root of It on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, please.
Yes, join in.
He said you already know, but I don't know if that was for me. He was saying no. He was saying that to you.
You already know. Info. That's what's up.
So, first of all, I would like to thank you publicly for agreeing to do the show so late in advance. I knew that I was going to do this particular topic, but the person that actually came up with the topic had gotten sick. And so I was asking him if he wanted to still do it, but I did make it clear to him that if he was not able to do it, that I was still going to do this topic because it was a much needed topic to be spoken on. And just to, again, to enlighten people, we're not ministers. Oh, and also, before I start the broadcast, I always go into the disclaimer that I am not a doctor, I am not a therapist. This is just my vantage point. This is from my experiences only. If you need help in these areas, if they're extreme in any area, I ask that you go and see a professional in that area. Just want to put that out there because I don't want to be held accountable for something when it's just something that I've been through myself or that I've done research about. And so just to put that out there. So lust versus love, fidelity, and trust. Now, wait, before we get into it, please introduce yourself to the peoples out there for me.
Indeed. Well, like my sister said, my name is Kassim Gibson. I was born and raised in St. Augustine, Florida. Wow, I've known D and SW for over 20 years now, right? It's been that long.
It's maybe like 14.
Oh yeah, I was
maybe
saying
like
I'm
14.
old. My bad. Yeah,
It feel like
right.
14.
Right. Just
Go ahead, keep going.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah. Again, born and raised in St. Augustine. Spent 5 years, United States Marine Corps, 5 years, United States Navy, 2-time war vet, blah blah blah, on and so forth. The things we'll be speaking from this evening, or at least the vantage point I'll be speaking from, is from personal experience. I can't prescribe, as W said, I can't prescribe anything. Certainly, if by chance these are problems that you experience on a higher level, by all means, please consult a physician. This will just come from what I've been through. Just a peek at my cheat sheet. If you're interested in getting into a life, a fulfillment with a woman that's made for you, then by all means, listen in. So, but
that's right. So before we get into the meat and the potatoes of it, I always go in and give some just some background information that I've looked up, especially with this topic, because I can talk about lust from a secular viewpoint, which I am, but I'm also going to speak from the spiritual standpoint and what the lust of the eyes can do to a person, and the lust of the flesh can do to a person. But when I Googled, I Google everything. Google is my best friend. So the one thing that I got this from healthline.com, and it says, love, what does it mean to be loved or lusted after? So he defines lust as a state of overwhelming sexual and physical attraction to another person. Love, on the other hand, is a much broader concept that includes deeper emotional connection and usually a desire to make that relationship last. So one of the things that the original person who brought up the topic, he was saying that sometimes people really get love and lust confused. And personally, I can actually agree to a certain extent, because I had to actually go through and figure out if my definition of love was wrong. Okay. And a lot of people, maybe people would self-check or will not self-check. But I know that from my past, right? Sex was always something that was a part of my love language, right? Not saying that it's true or that it's even right, but that was what I considered my love language, right?
Mm-hmm.
So without that, it's like, oh no, what's going on? Now I am a Christian. Now, am I supposed to be thinking on that level? No, but the reality is that we struggle as Christian people, single Christian people. We struggle with that. And there's so many people that have to fight a silent battle because that's one of the topics that most churches don't really want to touch on. It's really a touchy subject, right? So what do we have to do to help people understand that lust is not love? So from the single man point of view, what was your definition of lust versus love?
As a single man, wow. I mean, in all realness, I can remember lust having me personally in the car at the light, 3 o'clock in the morning, starving on the way to get me some. You know what I mean? On the way to some chick house. Lust is serious. It's so serious. And 9 times out of 10 in our community, we're exposed to it just a wee bit early. You know what I mean? So
Right.
we start to develop things very early on that we really shouldn't even be a part of. I mean, and that's just for a whole nother topic. You know what I mean? But
You're so right. You're so right to even bring it up because what I've realized and what I've recognized through doing this show, right, is that a lot of our stuff that we deal with as adults all stem from childhood trauma. Okay.
mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of things that that we have dealt with in our past that perpetuated a sexual or lustful spirit. So like I know right now this generation is ultra sexualized. It's 2-year-olds twerking and everybody laughing about it, and it's like it ain't funny when they turn 11 and they twerking on a boy at a school party. Then it ain't gonna be funny. You know what I mean? And because we don't have that forward thinking and that foresight to say, well, let me nip it in the bud now so I don't have to deal with it at a later time, right? But you said something profound in your first opening statement was when lust will have you in your car at 3 o'clock in the morning fiending.
Mm-hmm.
You're about to go and get
a legit drug.
Now Dion said we struggle, especially if you have been married previously. And I believe that it's even harder for a person that was married and had their bed undefiled to then come and have to live a single person's life. That's not an easy feat to do, especially, and that's like, who you don't really think about that aspect because when you get married, you're married to be married. You know what I mean? But what about if you get divorced? What happens then? You know? So go ahead. What else did it have you doing? Because I know it had me driving on the interstate in the rain.
Well, see, I don't know about all that.
So no.
Well,
but it was
serious. I get you. I mean, it was different. Okay, from a male's perspective, it has so much to do with so many things. I struggled personally with self-esteem issues. I had them, pretty bad actually, coming up. So, myself and girls, it didn't really start to come around until later. And by the time I got into it, the cats I was growing up with was already into it 5-6 years. So I was late blooming. You know what I mean? But my priorities was different. I was raised in a house full of women. So I wasn't fixing to do and say all sorts and types of crazy stuff just for a result. I was raised better than that. So, I mean, having that, that's a base most of us don't have in the Black community as well. We all know the tale, you know what I mean? Pop split, mom, it's just her, you know what I mean? But the environment which you see, house full of women, man, positivity every day. You know what I mean? We were required to be men early. We had to be. And so in that, we were taught how to treat women. We were taught chivalry, one-on-one. You know what I mean? It was just us. So, house full of girl women, they're gonna make sure that you know what you out here doing. Some of us took, some of us didn't. Happens. But with my set, I just, like I said, I mean, it was tough because, when you don't start out with the money successfully, if you're not, you know what I mean, if you're not the in crowd or whatnot, 9 times out of 10, people don't really pay attention to you. I was quiet and reserved sometimes, but like if I had to, if I had to get my point across, I had to have people look past, me and listen to what I was saying. And that's how I got into a lot of my interactions. But it really didn't start for me until I got into the military. Oh boy, man, it is I
can imagine.
Listen, you will hear tales and stories, and they still won't live up to what actually happens. That is some wild stuff. It's a different position at a young point in your life. You really don't have any restrictions, and you're subject to do some of anything. I just had enough restraint. I knew what I wouldn't do. I knew there were lines that I wouldn't cross. So, but I've seen some people do some truly disheveling stuff in the name of lust, just because they could. You know what I mean? And just because they could, and they didn't, they didn't take into account that this may affect someone that they may be with. You know what I mean? Wife or girlfriend or what have you. And they would just really just do some things. It was
So that's very interesting that you said that, because one of the things that I was thinking about when I was thinking on this subject was that the enemy, he makes things overly appealing. Okay, so people who serve the enemy, right? They have a saying that they follow, and I forgot the man's name. I don't dig into Satanists and stuff like that. But what they do is they follow a saying called "Do as thou wilt." Okay, and "Do as thou wilt" gives them no parameters, no guidelines, and no structure on where their sexuality and their promiscuity can go. Okay, so I believe that we are living in a society of do as thou wilt. Okay, to be quite honest. And y'all let me know, y'all chime in if y'all ever heard that saying before, but that is something that they say. Now, I'm not bigging it up. I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ, but I'm just trying to tell you that those are the things that they go by. So, there's a lot of people nowadays that don't even believe in marriage anymore. Okay, they don't believe in marriage. And if they do, they have 4 and 5 and 6 wives, and they the poly lifestyle and all of this stuff. Now, let me tell you something. One of the things that I remember growing up, right? I remember that my grandmother in the 80s told me that when sexuality and the do as thou wilt generation comes along, just know that things are going to start getting kind of spicy on this earth, right? Thank you. Alistair Crowley, yes, was his name. And he was the one that discovered the do as thou wilt. And Dion said, yes, Jay-Z says it all the time, right? So a lot of times we are not even mindful of the things that we are privy to, or what we're even standing for, without doing the underlying work. So people are like sheep headed to their slaughter, and that's what the Bible says. Okay, sheep headed to their slaughter, and the reason being is because they follow what other people is doing. Now that we have the internet where porn is easily accessible. Now, I remember when I was growing up, you had to, in order for you to even see any type of porn, you had to go behind the veil. You had to go behind the black curtain or whatever curtain they had, right?
That beaded curtain, yeah, you had to go back there.
Right. And you knew that something that was back there is you can't go in there at Blockbuster, okay? You can't go in there, right? But because everything is at our fingertips, we don't even realize that we have over-sexualized our culture. Everything is about having a bad body. Everybody has made Dr. Miami freaking a millionaire. Everybody is doing all the same things. People want to do things for clout, right? But they're missing a big, major aspect of their life, which is love. Love covers a multitude of sin. And so I'm going to take it from the Bible. I'm going to take it away from the Bible and put it in layman's terms, okay? So love covers all the wrongs and the offenses that people do to you when you walk in love. When you walk in love, you're able to forgive people for things that they've done to you because your heart is bigger than the thing that they did. Your love for them is bigger. I know that we sometimes stay loyal to people who do us the most dirty. And it's because we love them, and love is blind and all of these different things. But sometimes we fall in love with the wrong things, or we think that we're in love, and it's really that we're just in heavy like of the sexual aspect of the relationship. And if you take the love, if you take the sex out of the relationship, what do you actually have in common with the people that you're actually dealing with? Half the time you don't even like them. You be doing the Jodeci that don't talk, just listen. Like, you don't want to deal with nobody. You don't want to have that, you don't want to have those intimate talks because you're here for one thing and one thing only. And once that's done, it's like, all right, well, I see you later. And then we're wondering why we're carrying all this baggage and all of this hurt and things of that nature, because we're confusing lust with love.
Yeah.
And so I have some signs of lust, right? Because sometimes like, oh, I don't operate on lust. I only deal with one person. But do you lustfully look at other women? Can you have sexual can you visualize sexual intimacy with a woman in your mind? If you can, then you've already committed the act because it's in your mind, it's in your psyche. It's like you know what I mean? Then that's biblical too. Okay, so the signs of lust, some signs, it says you are totally focused on a person's looks and body. So that's why I brought up Dr. Miami, because everybody is going to him to get the fat sucked out their sides, which I don't mind that because I think I want to do it. But anyway, I'm just playing. But get the fat sucked out their sides and put it in their bottom so that they can have this hourglass figure and changing their nose and stuff. Shoot, by the time we get to God, God is going to be like, I don't recognize none of y'all because y'all don't look like nothing I made. No, I didn't make you like that. Okay, I'm sorry. I was just I went off on a tangent. Second one is you're interested in having sex but not having conversation. Look, you don't want no conversation, but you want, like, from a male's point of view, why don't you want to conversate or converse with the woman? You're not caring about her mind or what her dreams and aspirations is.
You're really not. And then to be truthful, you done did, you're jumping up and down on her. You don't even know what her favorite color is. You know what I'm saying? You don't know nothing about this girl. All you know is that you was looking around the parking lot, you saw her, she saw you, it's closing time, it's time to break out. I gotta go home with somebody. You feel me? These are the arrangements single people find themselves in quite often. And a lot of messy decisions are blamed on inebriation when really that's not the case. This is something you chose to do because lustfully you felt as though you could execute this, with little to no, you feel like, hey, let me throw my game around, let me see what I can come up with, the next thing you know, you have this complete and total stranger in your house, butt naked in the morning. It's really awkward because, like I said, you forgot you even picked her up from the club. Now you got to take her home or catch a cab or get her to catch a cab. You find yourself in some really strange situations.
And very dangerous situations.
My gosh! Listen, we don't have to go into the whole protected, non-protected. We've seen the numbers. It's astounding, and then even now, lust is making people not even care much about that anymore. I mean, it seems like today's society is facilitating lust. They're encouraging, inspiring, spreading lust. Case in point, I read an article the other day that Robin, a fictional character, by the way, DC Comics, is bisexual. Can I ask you a question? Why do I need to know that? Why do my kids need to know that Robin likes yay or nay? You're involving them in something that they have no equipped, they're not equipped to really deal with right now. And it's almost like terraforming their minds to accept this new way of thinking, to do as thou wilt. You know what I mean? There's so many parameters that are being removed at such a very young age that is introducing them into these conversations much earlier, and it's cornering them to think, from a sexual standpoint when they should absolutely know nothing about it. You see what I'm saying? They're being introduced to it way too young.
Now look at Dion talking about when you wake up in the morning, you forgot that you brought the girl home from the club. She put there, how did you get here? Nobody's supposed to be here, right? And then Nutty said that part. Says because you don't, and I think that what we really need to speak about is the actual feeling of lust, okay? Because there is a feeling. It's something that you can easily identify, okay? It's a feeling that wells up on the inside of you, right? And these are for the people in the back who's like, nah, I don't care what she's saying. No, you really need to check yourself, because I'm gonna take it to the spiritual. You have so many soul ties, right, with different people that you're having sex with. Sex is a good thing. God made it good, right? But you don't understand the spiritual aspect of what sex does. Now, believe me, I'm not sitting here on my soapbox about nothing. If I don't do anything on this show, I keep it 100% real. And the reason why this topic is so important to me is because that's one of the main things that I suffer with. That's one of my thorns that I'm working on it, and it's really doing good. But I had to experience something, and I had to realize my viewpoint on love was skewed. And I'm okay to sit here before people, because if nobody takes accountability on our thought process and how we process things and how we see things and how we act for things and to things, we'll never be free, right? So my love language was different. I'm a very touchy-feely person. But if you're not attracted to me, I really feel that there's no way that you could possibly fall in love with me, right? Now, let me know if I'm wrong. Now, your cousin said something.
What do you say?
Oh, he said something. He said, right, we don't need to know the sexual preference of superheroes because we don't need to see them having sex. Exactly. There's nothing to do. There's nothing we can do We don't need to worry about Batman and Robin doing whatever, or, you know, Spider-Man hooking up with Superman. Like, nobody wants to know that, right? So, and Dion said they are even trying to make Bert and Ernie go gay on Sesame Street. Now,
that pissed
please
me off,
understand. Right? I want to put another disclaimer out, okay? Because I have family members, I have close friends, I have people around me that is in that lifestyle. Do I agree with the lifestyle? No, because God doesn't agree with it. But do I love my people that are in my family and all people? Yes, I do. I cannot. I can only tell you what thus saith the Lord, but I don't have no hell or no heaven to put you in. Okay? But I do know that in order to reproduce, you have to have the right type of equipment to reproduce. And that's what sex is mainly about. Because in the Old Testament, you just spilling your seed to spill your seed is not a good look. Now, if God was the God of old, right, all of us will be dead. You understand what I mean? We'll all be dead, like on the spot, like boom. Want to know why? Because it was a scripture in the Bible where and Tifa, if you're on here, I believe that you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's in the Old Testament, and it was a man was married to a woman. He died before having kids, so his brother had to marry her to keep the lineage and the bloodline going and have kids with her. Well, he did the act of sex, right? He didn't have no problem doing the act of sex. However, when it was time for the impregnation to happen, he spilled his seed on the floor. When he spilled his seed on the floor, God smite him right then and there. So, if you're not using your seed for reproduction, what if God was the God of old? We would all be dead. He would smite you right then and there because everybody's spilling their seed wrong. Right? Biblical. Okay? Biblical. Okay. Now, Dion says the enemy can only suggest. She says he gives lustful images like they gave us images to make us lust for Popeye's chicken. It is the same concept. You cannot laugh because it is the same. It is the same concept, though. Listen, Popeyes have people fighting for that chicken. It's all about it's all about the sight. We are intrigued and moved by what we see. That's why in a lot of prayer, go ahead.
It's actually funny that she used that because I remember being in Jim's place. You remember, I don't know if you ever been in Jim's place. Anybody that's ever been in Jim's place, you know what I'm talking about. You go out in the middle of the dance floor, and it's always some big woman dancing in the middle of the floor with a basket of chicken. And listen. I'm not finna sit here and lie to you. I'm not gonna do it. I remember being in there one night. I just, had my little regular drink. I go, stand at the edge of the dance floor. I wasn't intending to dance. Big old woman bumped into me with a basket of chicken, and she kind of shook it in my face. You think I ain't grab a wing? Damn right I grabbed a wing. Got out there, jukes for a little bit. But see, here's the thing. I ate her chicken, and I tried to ride out. She's like, nah, bruh. A number, something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's funny that she would use that. And they are the same. I get so sick of come on, man. Nowadays, especially syndicated television, you got these, I remember the big commercials of old. You just saw a woman standing there, you probably shaving her underarms or shaving it. Now they all in between the legs and you know what I'm saying? They letting you see stuff now.
It's suggestive.
You can't watch television and not feel some kind of way nowadays. And I'm older now, so now it just kind of really it's like, really seriously. I mean, this is just a bit much, but it's everywhere.
It is. Now your wife This is your wife.
That's the wife.
That's the wife. And we're
Baby.
gonna get into his stance on how he viewed love and lust now that he's married. But Mrs. Gibson said it's their personal preference, but it shouldn't be forced to be accepted as the norm. And she's talking about the alternative lifestyles. I hope that I'm saying that correctly. And Nardi said the craving of sexual satisfaction that drives us to seek out sex partners. Lusting is driven by a hormonal desire for sexual gratification. The attraction is associated with feelings of excitement. So it's the endorphins and the dopamines. I learned about dopamines, right? So it's the dopamines that goes off in your head when you get excited, whether it's sex, whether it's ice cream, whether it's a cheeseburger, whatever gets you excited, right?
The body floods with dopamine.
Emotional action and intrusive thinking. So what can we, okay, wait, before we go there, wait, your cousin said something. He said, hey, doesn't the Bible say be fruitful and multiply? You got to spread seeds to multiply. Now, you are absolutely right. Okay, it does say be fruitful and multiply, but it says with one wife. Well, does it say with one wife? It does. One wife. Because I know the culture back then, they had multiple wives, blah, blah, blah. Jacob with Leah and Rachel, he had multiple wives, evidently. But that means every woman you sleep with, Mr. Hancock, you must get pregnant. You must have a baby with every woman you have sex with. How about them apples? Be fruitful and multiply and be able to take care of all of them kids. Every time you lay down, you must make a baby. How does that feel? How does that sound? That sounds like some bullshiggity to me. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying, but this is what it means, though. You understand what I mean? If God was the God, if he wasn't full of mercy today, we will all be dead. Real talk, end of story. Okay? So tell me, what is your viewpoint? What was your viewpoint on love when you was dating?
My viewpoint,
love.
I looked. My viewpoint on love was partly it was comprised of a bunch of different things. Stories I read, shows I watched. Everybody, coming up was influenced by Mr. Heathcliff, Mr. Heathcliff, Huxtable, Claire Huxtable. Everybody was. I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, no, I ain't watched that. Listen, every Thursday night, yes, you were. You were sitting in front of the couch.
The Cosby
Everybody
Show
was. Everybody was. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody wanted to get a fair understanding of what fatherhood does in a household full of kids. Now, in a lot of ways, it taught us things, but in a lot of other ways, it set us up for failure. See, what you have to understand is their lives are scripted. They only got 30 minutes to convey the point. You understand what I'm saying? They're not finna argue about a light bill. They're not finna argue about what time Cliff came home. They're not finna sit here and fuss about who got dishes in the sink and all that. I mean, you see a little something about it. You get my point. You understand what I'm saying? There's only 30 minutes to convey a point. The rest of that, we had to observe that in our daily life. You understand what I'm saying? And there just weren't a whole lot of Nobel Peace Prize winning brothers around when I was coming up. I was my grandmother, my grandmother did a lot of the raising me, and then, my mom, and then the collective of women that raised us. There weren't any men until later on, and I give credit to
question.
Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question? Do you believe, this is just dropped in my head, but do you believe men who were raised by women are better suited to love women, or do they know how to manipulate a woman because of being raised by nothing but women?
I feel like men who have been raised by just women. I won't say that all of them will understand how to treat a woman, but because they were raised by women, they should be held accountable for some of the stuff that they do. You know what I mean? As far
Right.
as what you've learned and how you use it to get where you trying to go. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I said earlier, you know, a lot of manipulation took place when we were younger. You know what I mean? You said some of anything, and then you went back to your boys and you lied about what you said. You know what I mean? Just to, you know, for whatever reason, you know, but loose, like I said, loose morals and go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said clout, insecurity,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
And it just, you know, there's nobody really around to, you know what I mean, just to give us any coaching about you know, behaviors toward sex. I mean, we just know we tried to, you know, to be honest with you, I really didn't. I was in my 20s. You know what I'm saying? I was a virgin until I was in my 20s. You know what I mean? But I was a bookworm, so I sat down and I read about everything. You know what I mean? I was
Right.
like, whoa. You know, when you know, I had to. You know what I mean? Because I was never one of the ones that wanted to go into anything half cocked or not understanding what there was to do. You know what I'm saying? So in that, and then from what I learned, you know, I just would just be as nice as I could. But then when you were really nice or overly nice, you got taken advantage of. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? You know, you open the door, you pull out the chair. You know, a lot of that stuff was looked over in high school because a lot of them, they didn't really have a guy to show them what's supposed to happen. That's one of the reasons why I asked for my. That's one of the reasons why I asked for my daughter. I wanted to be able to be the first one to show my daughter what is supposed to be done. You know what I'm saying? Everything. A lot of us didn't have that. A lot of females didn't have that. So they extrapolated it from wherever they could.
Now, mind you, I grew up in a two-parent home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with my mother and my father. Um, but I still have abandonment issues. I still have rejection issues. I
Mm-hmm.
still have the same issues as if of a woman who didn't grow up with her father. You
Mm.
understand what I mean? And a lot of people don't even understand that. So, yeah, you have these examples of what men are like. Hey, Tony, you have these examples of what men are like, but I can attest that I seek out men that's like my father all the time.
Listen.
I I really see, like, I see my trends. Like, they have to be hardworking. They have to be providers. So these are the things that my sister and I and my brother, we grew up on. So we are unicorns in amongst horses. You understand what I
Right.
mean? Because not a lot of people were able to experience what we've experienced. Now, was did he go to our functions? No. But I remember on the day of my prom, he stood outside. He's the one who took me to go get my dress. He's the one who stood outside and took a picture like this because he was fixing his car, but he made sure he took a picture and spun me around really quickly. And you know what I mean? So I have those memories. But that still doesn't negate the fact that I still had low self-worth. So
Mm.
sometimes it does not stem from the daddy. Maybe it stems from the baby daddy.
Pretty deep.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
I
that's the
can.
next, and I'm not bigging up baby daddies neither, but I do know that I had a daughter's father. And my insecurities, my self-worth or the lack thereof came from dealing with him,
Mm.
not from my father being absent or him being there or whatever. It came from the man that I dealt with sexually, emotionally, intimately, physically. That's who messed me up, not
Mm.
my daddy. You understand what I mean? So maybe on the men's side, from the men's side, maybe y'all didn't have the examples of how to be a man. You understand what I mean? Because a woman, regardless of how good you raise your sons, women, you're still not a man. You cannot teach a boy how to be a man. Only a man can, because they're logical, we're emotional. We're nurturers, they're disciplinaries. There's balance, there's difference. Okay, so let's get to some comments really quickly, because I saw when Nardi said the devil is a liar when I told your cousin that every time he has sex, he's supposed to get somebody pregnant. So she said the devil is a liar on that. Dion said there are those who use the Bible incorrectly, like your cousin did. They say once we have sex, we are married. Well, that in different cultures, there was a hand fasting. There was different things where their culture may do that, but here in the United States of America, no, that don't work, right? So then Dion put, sometimes lust gets confused with love because it is one-sided. You may feel love. They use you for lust. And because you may be starved for attention or companionship, you accept this toxic, selfish behavior. And that is so true. And that is because, and like Manifest, I say this every Sunday, everything is connected, because that's how we get involved with narcissists and people who gaslight you and manipulate you, because they now see that these are the things that you need. And they saying, well, I don't want to give her up because, she does X, Y, Z for me, but I'm not going to give her everything. I remember I was in a 7-year situationship, and a lot of us be in situationship and we swear and be calling people our man, and they like, I was just out with your friend last night. I ain't your man. You know what I mean? I'm your man's and them. What's up, homie? But I'm not your man. You know what I mean? And we really, as women, need to tighten up. We need to stop giving our jewels, throwing our jewels, casting our jewels to swine. And the reason why I say that is because we give, and I am in this boat too, we give men everything up front. Up front, we give everybody everything. Like, oh, I'm just going to love you and squeeze you and hug you like Elvira on the Animaniacs. I'm just going to love and squeeze and hold you. And he's like, I just want to touch your booty.
That's it.
Can I touch your booty?
Yeah.
And then once I touch your booty, I got to go because my grandmother's sick in the hospital, and and all the excuses come up. And now you feeling used, probably wasn't even satisfied. It's so many sacrifices that we make for the lack of lust and not even getting what we are supposed to rightfully get from the act, which God made good. That's why we have to learn how to determine and learn how to say no, because we are building up all of these soul ties. This is where I really wanted to get to, because this is the meat, and like I said, the meat and the potatoes of it is that when we have sex, right, we are tying our souls to people, and we are taking on, shifting and shaping into these people. And if they got bad spirits, if they carrying stuff, they may be, it's a lot that goes into it, right? Then all of a sudden, okay, let me give you an example. You ever start going out with somebody, then all of a sudden you start doing things just like them? And you're like, I spend too much time. That's what so-and-so do.
Start moving like them, yeah.
You start moving like them, talking like them, doing little things. Like I know my ex-boyfriend, he would say, no. And I will always say, no. Now that's what I say. You know what I mean? And it's because he would say, no. So, I picked that up from him. We pick up spiritual demons and things of that nature, and then wondering why we can't get with people. And it's because we have all of these different soul ties that we ain't never released. And people don't want to talk about that. People just want to continue to have sex. And isn't semen the purest form of blood? I think I read that somewhere. Like, ain't that I might be wrong. I ain't looked that up tonight, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. You bust me in the head with that one. Yeah.
Maybe I look, Google it, somebody. Let me see if that's so. Your cousin says that depends on the type of mother the boy had. So that brings another point, because the boys who grow up with mothers and their moms ain't grow up yet, right? So they still hitting the street. Now those men those little boys are growing up to be men that despise women because of how their mother was moving and shaking. Because now you was a hoe. It was too many people coming in and out. So now I'm gonna treat every woman like a hoe because you a hoe and you a hoe and you a hoe. Excuse my language, but this is the real deal, okay? So we have to be mindful as mothers that's taking care of boys too. And then we wonder why there's mixed, there's interracial couples, and because some men it's not because, oh, the black woman is snotty, it's because their mother was nasty and they don't want to deal with it. Has anybody thought about that? But then if you got to take onus of that, then you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, wow, I really set a bad example for my son in a way that he views a black woman. Anyway, side note, that is not that's not the topic of today. So Mrs. Gibson says it really depends on the type of mother he had and what he saw growing up as far as what was considered the norm within that household. That goes for single parents and with both parents in the house. Right. Your cousin says, I'm not religious, so yes, I should have stayed away from that comment. Laugh out loud. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. But it's okay. You're gonna learn something today. We're gonna learn you something today, boy. All right. So then Dion says that is the reason why Paul says stay celibate. God wants to protect us from succumbing to lust and all the insecurities that you might develop from connecting with the wrong person. So now I'm gonna say something, and I don't know if y'all really ready for it, but I'm gonna say it anyway because everything has to be talked about before Jesus cracked the sky. So let me tell you something. You ever heard of incubus and succubus? You ever heard of them?
I don't think I have. Incubus and succubus. No.
Okay, so let me put you on who incubus and succubus is. Okay, incubus is a male demon. Okay, he attacks women in the nighttime. Succubus is a female demon that attacks men at night, hence wet dreams. Okay? So we don't understand so much of what we're dealing with. So I'm going to give you an example of how incubus got to me. One day, I was working, I lived down south, and I was working at Hunter Boots, a slight drop. But anyway, I was working at Hunter Boots, and I got up from my desk and I went on break. When I came back from break, I sat in my desk, right? And all of a sudden I was just like, oh my God, it was like an overwhelming, lustful feeling. And I said, who came by my seat? Who sat in my seat? Who touched my seat? Because before I left, I was not feeling like this. Who dropped their nasty behind spirit off in my seat? Everybody was looking at me like I was bugging out. But I wasn't. And I remember I was in that 7-year relationship thing at the time, and I called him and I was like, oh my goodness, I have like an overwhelming feeling to have sex, like right now. He was like, what's the matter? I was like, I just sat at my seat, and oh my God, that's what that demon does. It makes it uncontrollable. But you think it's you making these decisions and feeling this type of way when it's the succubus or incubus demon. And this demon is so not popping, but I'm just saying, they made sure they had one of each.
Wow.
They say ain't nobody gonna get left out of this one. You understand what I mean? So we don't even understand why we are like this, like, oh my God, I just need it. How about when you're feeling those feelings, how about say, Ichabus, get from amongst me. I rebuke you. Just try it. Just try it. I'm not telling you to become a Christian and dedicate your life to Jesus. But if you try it and that feeling goes away, I suggest you call on the name of Jesus. Because once it goes away, he's going to bring his friends back with him. Okay? So I'm just giving y'all spiritual schooling really quickly. All right? But try it. Just try it. And then you will understand that this lust thing ain't really you, it's a spirit. Love is you. That's what we're comprised of. We are made up of love. That's the main thing that God wants us to do, is to love. He didn't say lust. Lust is just like coveting, wanting what somebody else got. Lust does not have any boundaries. Oh, you got a partner? So what? I want your man. I want your man even more now that I know that he's your man.
Yeah.
Driven. Knowing that their morals and their character ain't even like that. But if Ichabus or Succubus is on them,
driving at
then anything goes.
Yeah.
You better learn something. You better understand that this is not a game. And that it's not on our own doing. It's what we allow to enter into our body. We are so mindful of what we eat and what we drink, but we sure not mindful of what we allow to penetrate our bodies or come onto us. And I've seen a meme so many times. Oh Lord, I don't even want to ask you, but I want to ask you. He says, I know a better way to make the desire to have sex go away. Please, Mr. Hancock.
Break it down, V. Break it down.
Break it down, break it. I'm thinking that he is typing, so let's look at other things while he's doing that. So Tony says soul ties, right? And a lot of people don't want to know. A lot of people don't want to know about those soul ties because then they have to take accountability for their actions. And some people, I remember when my body used to rule me more than my brain did, that I swear I would call my friend to be accountable with me, right? And she would say, don't do it. I'm like, oh, it's already done. It's already done. I wanted what I wanted when I wanted it. And that is, what's that saying that I just said? That will
do as I will.
You know what I'm talking about. Yes. That. Wait, did he say? No, I'm not putting your comment up. That's not. He says, I know a better way to make the desire to have sex go away. You want to know what his comment is?
What did he say?
I don't even want to put it up. You're going against what I just said. So he said,
that's me all day. Yeah, that's me.
No, but see, okay, what if you were able to look at a woman and see her spirit instead of her face or her body?
If that was the case, man, listen, it's almost too much to even explain. If you could see a spirit before the body, man, come on, man, that would change the game entirely. I mean, seriously, you think about Instagram wouldn't exist. That's for damn sure. You understand what I'm saying?
That's true.
Listen, they would that would completely and totally eliminate Instagram. You know, because you got, right, you know what I'm saying, the chest and some butts and, you know what I'm saying, and some hips. When you put it in a bathing suit, you can take pictures of yourself now and have some idiot fly from clear across the country and pay for everything you eating and drinking simply because he wanted to be somewhere with you. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
easy now. It's just so easy now. But if you were to able to see the spirit of a woman, you would see that they're trying to, bring about the wrong crowd. You know what I'm saying? The people that are attracted to that, there are some very sick people. I just, when I'm on Facebook sometimes, because I have a whole bunch of attractive friends. Most all of my friends are attractive women. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And I see when y'all put up pictures and stuff, and there are some comments below those pictures that are just extremely disheveling. I mean, I'm like, damn, when did prison allow Facebook, people to get on Facebook? Because these comments are downright penitentiary. It's like, for
But
real?
you know what? But they're on. They're on. They're on.
But see now you got people that can say stuff like that. Now I tell somebody I'm gonna punch them in the face and I get locked up. You see what I'm talking about? It's
That's
the
because they don't know what else
normalization.
is gonna come after that. They probably was like, "Oh boy, here he go again. We gonna say something else next."
But
now,
I put the emojis, man. I put the fist. I put the little pow in the face. You know what I mean? They wasn't laughing. They locked me up for 30 days for that.
now, look, we are at 8:02. Okay. Now I forewarned Kassim earlier today. I said either we're gonna go over on this topic or we're gonna do a continuation of it next week. And I think that we're just gonna go and do a continuation of it next week. Would you like to still be on next week?
Listen,
And maybe we'll bring somebody else on as well.
It would be my pleasure. I would definitely be back.
We still want the married aspect because people need to understand that it's benefits to being married, baby, and it ain't all bad. Okay.
Let me tell you what, they need another publicist for that one. Because let me tell you what, the marriage life is where it's at. Real talk. And because I told you, I told you how many times I tell you I was not doing it again. I did it before to the wrong one. And I let that, I really had to sit still and let that seep out before I put myself in.
And we need to talk about that too, because there's so many men out there that won't even think about getting married due to the fact of their past relationships. And these tricks and witches and gardening tools really messing up a lot of stuff for a lot of people because it just doesn't make any sense. It's not fair. You're a good woman or you're a good man and you have to battle, because I know I have triggers, you know what I mean? And I fight against my triggers due to the fact that I sometimes I have missed opportunities because of my triggers. You know what I mean? Because of my past hurt. If it looked like a duck, if it quacked like a duck, it's a duck. And that's what I always feel. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a duck. It could be a quail. It could be a platypus. It could be an egret. It could be, just because it has webbed feet doesn't mean it's a duck. You know what I mean?
I've always told a lot of these women that complain about finding a man and a good man to do this and that and the third. Listen, some of the best men you could possibly have, some of the real gentlemen in the drive-thru, Taco Bell, Burger King, flipping burgers, Wendy's. You can't overlook these people, man. You miss a lot. You miss a whole lot just because you have this preconceived notion of what your man is supposed to appear, is what he's supposed to appear like. And if you knew that he went to Ross,
I believe that men have that, Kassim, because they're men who I'm too dark for them. You understand what I mean?
I've heard that.
Like men have preconceived notions like, nah, you too dark. I've envisioned myself with a lighter woman. But they won't say it to you because they don't want to hurt your feelings, but you're good enough to sleep with. You understand? But you're not good enough.
Yeah.
So it's just so many different things. It's so many different things that we're gonna touch on, because I really want to come back next week on this topic. I knew that it was going to be long, and I knew that we weren't going to get to all the points that I really wanted to hit. But the one thing that I want to remind people, and I want to drive home, is that when you have that lust feeling welling up on the inside of you, I want you to do a little experiment for me, okay? And please write in the comments, message me, email me, whatever. But I really want to know what it is. Like, I want to make sure that I want you. I just lost train of thought because I'm reading Dion's comment. It says, "Don't be too fat either." I don't know what that means, but wait. You're light skin. Okay, I got you. Undercover chubby girl lovers, right? But don't want to be seen out.
Yeah. We know about them.
Outside with them because that's not my type. You know what I mean? But anyway, and men don't even realize that half the time they not our type neither.
Yeah.
But we make do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Some men are too short, some men are too tall, some men are too wide, some men are too small.
Y'all got it tough, man. Y'all got it tough. Real
all right.
talk.
And we gotta work with what we get. Well, sometimes. Okay, now anyway.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say was, I want y'all to really try it, test it out, and see what you feel. Now, I have married people on here, but I also, hopefully this will hit the single people and the people that will look at this broadcast later that feel that they are suffering from lust. I want you to do a little experiment for me. I need you to, when that thing wells up on the inside of you, if you're a man, I want you to say, "Succubus, get off of me. Succubus, I rebuke you." All right? I want you to, and I don't care who your sexual preference is for, whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, whether you view yourself as whatever, transgender, whatever. I want you, when that thing on the inside of you well up, and you tell Succubus or Ichabus to go away, I want you to tell me how you feel. I want you to tell me and express to me if that same emotion and that's still welling up on the inside of you stayed or if it went. And that's going to prove my point that this is all about spirituality in the grand scheme of things. Well, so go ahead.
I was going to say, single people, y'all got some homework because I ain't saying nothing.
No, you don't have to because you're married.
Thank you.
I am not messing with your cousin.
What cuz say? What he say? What cuz say? Oh, V, you got to come back, V. You got to come back, V. You got to come back, V.
You have to come back, Mr. Hancock. He says, "Not my type. This means I'm not attracted to you." And that's fine. So then, if you're not attracted to me, you shouldn't want to sleep with me neither. That's what she's talking about. Because I'm chubby too. So, you know, that's why I can put myself in that ball game. You know what I mean? But if you say that you're not my type, but I can lay up with you as long as we eat in the house, I'm good. Nah, bruh. Or as my ex would say, no. No. He said, "I'll be like a third guest." For real, you really no. Well, yeah, because then we can give you the sanctified answer, y'all, and then we can give you the one that you want to run from, which Mr. Hancock will be telling you. You run from everything he's telling you. So, tune in next week as we continue this topic conversation.
Indeed.
Because I really believe that it's imperative that we really know what we're getting into. Okay?
Indeed.
I I better see you back next week, Mr. Hancock. I swear, I swear.
He'll be back.
But again, remember, please share, click tag and share and comment and like, put the heart buttons up for me. Also, share this with different people, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Stop being stingy. It's not like it costs you anything to just hit the real little button that says subscribe next to at the root of it. Okay. Also, I would like to thank everybody for the donations that they sent in. If you would like any information about sending in donations to keep At the Root of It going, please hit me in the messenger or at the root of it 2021@gmail.com. Until we meet again next week on the same topic, same bat station, same bat time, till we meet again. Bye. See you later, alligators. After a while, crocodile.
Welcome, everyone. We want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to be with us. Come on, let's get to the root of it.
In these times that we live, we take strides to move forward. We strive to be more, stay strong and be focused. Start a while, we make choices, live or die. Take over starts at the root, and the truth may be hard to swallow.